Now, I have talked obviously at length, even in just the last few days, about Donald Trump's failing mental health. And as I've said, the foreign media, international media, is doing a phenomenal job of talking about it. US media, on the other hand, they've been a little slow, much like Trump himself. So, maybe there's a correlation there, but I don't know. But here's the thing. A reporter for Salon.com was able to talk to multiple insiders in the Trump administration who openly admitted that, I got to be anonymous because if they find out I'm talking to you, my career is over. But multiple sources inside Trump's White House confirmed to this Salon.com reporter, Brian Karam, that we see signs of his mental decline. And it's signs that most of the rest of the media, aside from mental health professionals, are not talking about. Here is what they said. First and foremost, he doesn't have the stamina to do the job anymore. Trump hasn't shown up in the Oval Office on a Monday for the past month. So he doesn't work on Mondays anymore, this source confirmed. The source added, I'd lose my job if I talked about this publicly, or worse. But Trump doesn't work on Mondays. That must be nice, right? But he's not going into the Oval Office. He's usually not even in D.C. He's either golfing in Florida, New Jersey, or Virginia, according to the source, but he does not work on Mondays. I don't think he's in good physical health, according to the source. Other causes for concern voiced to the writer by two people inside Trump's circle included, quote, his recent lackluster public appearances, his gait, his apparent befuddlement, his propensity to govern via Truth Social posting, his sloppy attire, and his lack of engagement at the White House with others. His sanity looks gone. And that doesn't bode well for the country, since there's absolutely no chance the sycophants in his cabinet will invoke the 25th Amendment, Karam concludes. So let's talk about the things they're talking about. One, the lack of energy. Maybe that's cognitive decline. There's also a good chance that just has to do with age and diet. I mean, the guy lives off of fast food, and he's 79 years old. Yeah, he's not going to have energy doing that. So I don't know if that's cognitive decline. It's definitely not good for your health, which is why he's on, blood thinners and all that. But mental decline, not so sure about that. Now, his gait, right? The way that he walks, that is something that mental health professionals have discussed. They have brought that up. The people who know that when they see that, that's a sign that something's not firing right up here, literally, right? There's kind of something happening in your brain, neurologically, not psychologically. And that's the bigger problem. So the staffers are seeing it, and the mental health professionals have already pointed out that, yes, that's a symptom of something seriously wrong. So there's that. His befuddlement, right? He's confused all the time. Yeah, he is. And he's also very dumb. That we're going to put over on the psychological side, but I think part of it needs to be on the neurological side. Doing things via Truth Social, he's always done that via Twitter and all that. Those are symptoms, but that's on the psychological side as well. And then, of course, what was the final one here? His sloppy attire. Now, what's funny about that is actually something I've noticed too. Donald Trump, for the longest time, always was very well put together, unless he was in his polos, because he's playing golf. But, the suit, all that. And I actually mentioned to my wife the other day, we saw him do something. I was like, he looks sloppy. Like, something's wrong. Why is he dressed like that? Why is nobody fixing him up? And so it's weird. I don't know if that is cognitive decline, mental decline, neurological, psychological, but it's something I've noticed too. And if his staffers are pointing it out, then it's definitely a big deal. And I just think it's funny that I had mentioned that the other day to my wife, and now it's like, oh yeah, no, we think that's a symptom that something's wrong. Bottom line is this. The press continues to ignore this. They are, in fact, covering up. They're doing, by the way, what Jake Tapper accused the press of doing during the Biden years. Except this one's far more obvious. His own staffers are out there telling reporters something's wrong with this guy. And if this doesn't get national attention, then it probably never will. Thanks for watching today, everybody. And don't forget, if you're not already, please do subscribe to this channel. We have fresh content going up every single day, and I would really hate for you to miss out on that. And speaking of missing out, if you're not following me across all other social media outlets, then get on it. You can follow the links in the description of this video.